Okay, welcome to the first video of the O-Level Math Revision series. My target with this series is to specifically revise topics for the P1 exam, and what I will be doing is I will be covering a range of topics. I'll briefly explain the topics while I do the questions, and my focus will be doing on as many past paper questions as possible. Since this is more of a revision series, I'm not concentrating on lectures. So the first topic is significant figures. So significant figures are predominant in paper 2 because every number has to be rounded off to correct, every answer has to be rounded off correct to 3 significant figures in paper 2. But with paper 1, when you are solving questions, you will come across at least one question out of the 25 to 30 questions that are there that will ask you to sort of solve by sort of do some rounding off and then solve. So this says by writing each number correct to one significant figure. So what significant figures are basically non-zero digits. Zeros are significant when they occur between non-zero digits. So the first significant number, you always start counting from the left hand side. So the first significant number that I see is 7. I am supposed to write down this 71.8 correct to one significant figure. So I'm going to say that this becomes 72. 70.0, or I can just write 70. That is 71.8 correct to one significant figure. Then I have 32.4. If I look at this, I don't need any other rounding off. I don't need to add. So this becomes 30.0 or 30. Similarly, 0.198. Now this 0 is not significant. The first significant number is here, so I'm going to round that off. So this becomes 0.200 or just simply 0.2. So I'm just doing these calculations just for you to see. They are not necessary. It's just a 2-mark question. The marks will be there for writing this as 70, 30, and then 0.2 squared. Now 0.2 squared is simple. You can just write 0.04, or if you are unsure, you can just simply do this. Then I hope everybody has a way of removing the decimals. So when I remove a decimal, I put a 10 in the numerator. When I remove another decimal, I put another 10 in the numerator, because these were both one-digit numbers. So this becomes 40 into 10 into 10 divided by 2 into 2. So that's 20, and that's 10, and that becomes 1000. You don't need to do all of these calculations. I am just doing this for the sake of explanation. So that is my answer for the first question. Okay, moving on to the next question. It's a similar question from a different past paper. All of these are different past papers. Every page that I scroll is a different past paper. It says by writing each number correct to one significant figure. So again, I'm writing them correct to one significant figure. So this is going to become 20.00 minus 9.6 rounded off. Now 9.6, if I am rounding off on this number, I have to see the next number, that's 6. So I'm going to add a number and say that this becomes 10.00 divided by, now I have to round this off correct to one significant figure again. So I'm going to round this off to the nearest unit digit that I have. This becomes what? It becomes 2.00. Writing this simply, I get 20 minus 10 divided by 2. At this point, you have to use your order of operations. You divide first and then subtract, BODMAS or PEMDAS, whatever you've learned it in your basic chapters. So this becomes 20 minus 10 divided by 2 is 5. I get 15 as my final answer. Let's look at this one. It says by writing each number correct to one significant figure again. So rounding of 2.78, I get correct to one significant figure would be 3.00 or simply 3. 61.4 rounded off to one significant figure would be 60.0 or just simply 60. And 0.893 rounded off would be 0.900 or just simply 0.9. Now calculating all of these, I'm going to write 3 cubed over 60 into 0.9. That's 27 over 60 into 0.9. I'm going to remove the decimal. I'm going to generate a 10. The 0 cancels out. So it's simply 27 over 6 into 9. I'm not multiplying because I know it's going to reduce. 9 times 1, 9 times 3, 3 times 1, 3 times 2. That gives me half. So I can write a half, or I can write a 0.5, whichever way I want. So that gives you 2 marks. So all 2 mark questions, you can see they are not very difficult questions again. So this is again another 2 mark question that I have here. It says by writing each number correct to one significant figure, estimate the value. So again 6013 correct to one significant figure. So that was going to become 6000. 0.0405. Now the first significant figure is this 4 here. All the zeros before 4 are not significant. Had I been counting significant figures, that would be 3 significant figures. So this becomes 0.04. And 8.986 correct to one significant figures. This would be 9.000. That's going to be 9. So 6000 into 0.04 divided by root of 9. Root of 9 is simply 3. I remove the decimal. I get two decimal places, so 100 in the denominator. I cancel out the zeros. 3 times 1, 3 times 20. 20 into 4 is basically 80. So that's my answer for this part. Let's look at this one. It says by writing each number correct to one significant figure. So again, you can pause here, do this question yourself, see if it matches with my answer. I'm now going to try to do these without showing you the breakup. So 6.6 square, I can just write 6 square. This becomes 200 into 0.3. 6 square is 36. 200 into 0.3. So I remove the decimal, I get a 10 in the numerator, a 0 cancels out. 3 times 1, 3 times 12, 2 times 10, 2 times 6. So I can say that this is 6 divided by 10, or just 0.6. I can reduce it, write it whichever way I want. I'm still going to get those 2 marks because it doesn't say whether I need a fraction or a decimal or whatever the question may be. Then this has the first part as well. It says correct to the nearest million. You should know a million has 1 and 6 zeros, and a billion has 1 and 9 zeros. So this number that I've written here is basically, let's count how many digits do you have. You have, if I put in commas, I have basically 64.785491 million. So that's 64.7. If I round that off to the nearest million, it becomes what? It becomes 65 million. More specifically, if I want to write it, it becomes 65 and then zeros after this. So what I'm basically doing is I'm rounding off after this line. So I'm rounding off 7 and getting 1 added to 4. So that becomes 65. That's how you round off. Well, hopefully you know that already. If you don't, you should go back and rehearse your concepts. Then it says by writing each number correct to one significant figure. So I get 70 plus 50. Now I'm doing these directly because that's how you're supposed to do on the exam. You're not supposed to show me all the calculations. It's just this first step that's there that's going to get your marks for the method, because there are 2 marks and then 1 mark for the answer. So that becomes 70 plus 50 is 120, and this becomes 0.2 into 0.2, 2 decimal places. So 10 into 10. So 2 times 1, 2 times 60, 2 times 1, 2 times 30. So I get 3000. Then it says by writing each number correct to one significant figure. Again, it's the same question. It says 58 to be rounded off, so that becomes 60. Then that becomes 30. And that becomes 0.1. So that's 60 divided by 30 into 0.1. I'll remove the decimal, that gives me a 10. I'll cancel out the zeros, so that's just simply 60 divided by 3, which is 20. Remember, I'm estimating the values. You can verify these estimations if you just put the entire thing on a calculator. Although it's paper 1, you're not allowed to use a calculator. You can check from the marking scheme, or if you calculate the exact value of this, so using a calculator, you'll find that it comes out to be around 20, although there's a lot of rounding off involved, so that my answer may be a little skewed. Then I have this question, again same idea. I'm going to round this off to 8,000, 0.6 and 20. Remove the decimal, cancel out the zeros. 2 times 1, 2 times 3, 3 times 8 is 24, and a 0, so 240. Quick question. Let's do another 2 or 3 quick questions, and that should be the end of this video. This one says 0.340. It's the same question, so I'm just quickly doing it. 12 over 80. Oh, I've done that correctly. Okay, 4 times 3, 4 times 20, so that's 3 over 20. Okay, I can leave the answer as it is. I don't need to convert it into a decimal number. And let's look at this one. It says correct to 3 significant figures. Now when I start counting my significant figures, this is not significant, this is not significant, this is not significant. The first 3 significant figures are 2, 0 and 3. See, 0 is occurring between those numbers, so 0 is significant. Then I put a line there and I start rounding off. So this gets round to 204, and the earlier numbers remain on their space. They are not significant, so they're going to still remain. They don't get eliminated. So that's correct to 3 significant figures. By reading each number correct to 1 significant figure, so again this becomes 4, this becomes 60, and this becomes 0.4. So that's 2 into 60 divided by 0.4. I remove the decimal. Times 30, so that's 300. I think that's an easy question. Let's do this. And see what the next question is. Then it says correct to 2 decimal places, so I'm going to put a boundary there, and then I'm going to round off. Rounding this off gives me 306.25. that's correct to 2 decimal places. Correct to 2 significant figures. So now I start counting my significant figures. 3 is significant. This 0 is also significant. You should know that because it occurs between non-zero numbers. So then I have to put a line there, round this off, so this becomes 310.000 or just 310. Then by writing each number correct to 1 significant figure, estimate the value of this. So I'm going to say that this becomes 9 squared minus cube root of 1000. 81 minus cube root of 1000 is 10. So that's 71. Then there's an addition problem by writing each number correct to 1 significant. So that becomes 50. That becomes 40. That becomes 60. Now a lot of people get confused with this. See, you don't have to round off the 9. You have to round off on after the first significant figure. Is 4 larger than 5? No. So then it's going to round off to 60. The question is asking whether it's closer to 60 or 70, not whether it's closer to 65 or 60. That is something that you need to be aware of. Divided by 20. So that's 90. 60 divided by 20 is 33. 3, and that gives me 30 overall. So that is the end of a few questions from the past papers. This was paper 1 for significant figures. I will be back with more videos. Please like and subscribe to get alerts for the videos. Thank you.